So, after knowing how far our forest should go, I decided to use this texture right here for the forest. And the way we'll do it is we set it as a background texture, and around the roads we use a draw layer with a color, and we use the color from our flat terrain, and we will carve it out a little bit. So we have to set the draw layer below our roads but above our texture, and now we can maybe even with more smoothness we can carve it out like this. So as you can see now, this will make the roads more visible. And we will also make this around the secondary roads here. Like this. And I guess this will be a good compromise between the look. We also can then carve out the edges here a little bit, but that's something to do when we know the exact outlines, how they will be. So the first step now is to set the forest texture in our fill layer. We said it will be above this elongated lake like here. So we begin to fill it like this. We be careful that we don't overdraw over our gray hexes here. So just like that maybe. Also, we'll be careful here. And when we're around our lakes with the gray hexes, we can simply use a bigger radius. So it won't take that long to fill the hexes here. I would say this looks pretty fine. So now we got the texture background set up, and now we will use the draw tool to further carve out the roads. We even want to set the draw tool below the layer of the lakes in order to not draw over the lakes. So we begin here with the main roads, and we then go ahead with the secondary ones. So you see this process takes a longer time compared to using in-hex forest. And here we got to be careful to not draw into the gray. So like this. And then we go on here. Maybe even make it a bit bigger, a bit wider. It also doesn't have to be perfect. So can quickly go around here. And I guess these are all the roads, yeah, exactly. So what we can do now is make a little smooth transition here at the corners. And now we got it nicely done. We can now make a little like artistic things, or for example around the lakes, cut it out a bit. But that's something for maybe later on when we want to make it more nicely. But for now, it's okay so far. So I guess especially around these big lakes, it wouldn't look too bad if there was some sort of transition here. So we'll try to implement this. Yeah, this looks really nice. Maybe we should do this for all bigger lakes. Also, this means some work. So we try to speed it up a little bit. As mentioned, we try to cover only the bigger ones here. But we of course need this one. These two. And parts of the biggest one here. As mentioned here, we got to be careful with the grayed out hexes as we're drawing in the same layer. So now it looks like this, and I'm pretty happy with the result. So this has been our forest. Let's quickly have a look at the satellite map again. So there is also some forest alongside this river, which we don't really have inside here. Maybe it was like not perfectly seen, but we created manually. So we know it goes alongside or between these two roads and follows the border. So what we'll do is we create an hex site layer, and we will use the river preset. And what we can do now is we can draw in the river below the border. Just have to look exactly, I guess it follows up here. So we have to look how it goes. Yeah, it just goes straight to the top here. So here we should try to change the road a little bit. This is this one. So we have to manually edit our road in order to not overlay with the river, especially here. So the last thing would be to edit our river here. Maybe we make it like this. So it like flows into here. And I'm happy with the result now. And alongside the river, we want to make also forest. So we go back to our terrain and just draw in the hexes alongside the river. And in our draw layer, we now simply need to blend out the outer border and alongside the roads and the river. So we carve out the roads. And I guess we're not carving out the river right now because otherwise there would be too much forest lost, or maybe a little bit. Let's try it. Yeah, it's okay, I guess.